basically give us a quick rundown. How long have you been involved with Operation Rescue?
Well, actually, I've been in the pro-life movement since 1984. And I started out in Southern California, just sidewalk counseling and offering help to women at abortion clinics. And so I actually predate Operation Rescue as far as in the pro-life movement goes. But then I started working with Operation Rescue and Troy Newman in the early 90s in Southern California. And then in 2002, Troy decided to move out here to Wichita, Kansas, in order to try to close the most notorious late-term abortionist in the country, if not the world, George Tiller. And when he came out about a year later, we felt the call of God on our lives, and we moved out to, now our whole family's out here, and we are working to close him down.
And again, Charles Tiller out of Wichita, Kansas. Now, let me ask you, abortion. Now, some people, and I want you to get into more details, some people say that it's a fetus. Some people call it an unborn baby. I maintain that life begins at conception, and I stand by that. And our Constitution, Dave, guarantees every American what, Dave?
Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, James.
So with that, Dave, back to our guest, Dave, it's safe to say, Cheryl and Dave and your listeners, that the debate whether it's a woman's right to end her pregnancy is basically null and void. Yes, it's in her body, but the difference is it's not all genetically completely her. It's half the chromosomes are from the father, half from the mother, and it has a complete, brain waves, Dave, I believe, after even a couple weeks. I posted a video on the website about dismemberment, abortion dismemberment, and I will just say this, Dave. If every American is guaranteed the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, abortion is not guaranteed. It's stripping millions, Dave. I believe at the rate of 4,000 to 5,000 a day. So with that, Cheryl, let's let Cheryl let loose, Cheryl, and you we're going to just turn you loose, Cheryl. Go ahead.
Well, okay, let me tell you a little bit about George Tiller. George Tiller is a late-term abortionist. He has the largest freestanding late-term abortion mill in the country. Women come from literally all over the world to this abortion clinic because he's one of the very few abortionists that will do abortions at the latest stages of pregnancy. In fact, we have a videotape on our website of George Tiller admitting that he's done abortions up until the day before the baby's due date. Now, we have a law here in the state of Kansas that says that you can't do abortions after 22 weeks of gestation unless the mother's life is in danger or unless the woman will suffer a substantial and irreversible impairment of a major bodily function if she continues the pregnancy. Now, we had an abortion attorney general here some years ago who interpreted that to include mental health exceptions as well. Now, George Tiller has taken this mental health exception, and he's used it to justify abortions on healthy, viable babies up until the day of delivery. And we recently helped get a grand jury here in Wichita to investigate George Tiller for violating the ban on late-term abortions. And that grand jury, unfortunately, just came back today and did not indict. It was an interesting statement that they made, though. They agreed that Tiller was performing late abortions, and the reasons were not substantial and irreversible, but because two doctors signed off on it and said it was okay, then there wasn't anything they could do about it. And unfortunately, that's an interpretation of the law that we think is extremely faulty, and we're going to have another go at him, I think. If not with another grand jury, at least we're going to try to tighten up the laws, the wording in the laws to close the loopholes so that it will put him out of business. We believe very strongly if we can take these late-term abortions away from him, that's where he makes most of his money. They're extremely expensive abortions, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 we've heard, depending on how late they are. then we can close them down. You don't have to take away 100% of a person's business in order for them to close. You just have to take away their profit margin. And I think that would be what would happen if we were able to get laws that would take away his late-term abortion business. And you have to understand, this is a gruesome situation that goes on. These babies are born whole. They're born in place. They have them washed and dressed for presentation to the families. The families are encouraged to have memorial services right there in the abortion clinic. And there's an on-site incinerator inside Tiller's abortion mill where he incinerates the bodies of the babies. He sells the families decorative urns. The ashes are placed in the urns and they give them back to the parents. And it's really a shocking thing that goes on there.
Sounds like Nazi Germany. In fact, I believe the founder of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, actually communicated with Adolf Hitler as well. And I do want to maintain, when I was involved in the pro-life movement down in Melbourne, Palm Bay, I guess the guy that's really responsible for waking me up on that was Randall Terry, and I have an autographed book in my hand right here, Accessory to Murder by him. It's about 12, 14 years old. I remember him speaking one time, and people are going to find this hard to believe. I know firsthand because I've witnessed it, and I've come face-to-face, Dave, with the head, I forget what his name, Dave, was, but the head warlock of the Satanic Church or cult in Florida, Dave, in the 80s. I came toe-to-toe with him, Dave. Of course, Dave, I wasn't as radical as I was now because, well, I was working with youth groups and all this stuff, and, I'm trying to get back to what I should be, Dave. But on a point is, there is a satanic connection to this abortion mill industry. I know firsthand because I've seen it and I've met it. It's something that's not talked about, Cheryl, I believe, in Christian circles or even in the pro-life movement much. Are you aware of the satanic connection to the abortion mills and that warlocks or practicing warlocks, that people in witchcraft are involved in this? Have you ever heard of this?
Yeah. Actually, I have. Troy Duman and I wrote a book a few years ago called The Blood Cries Out, and in that book we actually explored the spiritual aspect of abortion and how people years ago, even in Bible times, would sacrifice babies and in some cases would abort babies in sacrifice to some of these demon idols. And we believe in that there is a spiritual warfare. We believe what the Bible says about that, and that we believe that the spirits that hung out around those groves where people sacrifice children to these idols are probably the same demons that hang out at the abortion clinics. We've seen really incredible things at the clinics that really make us feel like that there's satanic influences there. In fact, one of the employees at George Tiller's abortion clinic is a self-avowed pagan. She's actually a witch. And so that's, we figure birds of a feather flock together.
Well, at least I know. I forget the name of the warlock, but I believe, what year was that? I think that was in around 88 or, let me see, I could actually tell you, it was when I got this book, actually. It was September 12th, 1990, when I came head-to-head with the head pagan leader of Florida. Well, Cheryl, I find it quite interesting that the ACLU, in fact, has fought successfully in 1983, the Akron case. They fought to overturn the right of local governments to regulate medical safety. Moreover, to show the evil to this industry, they fought against informed consent for women considering abortion of their child, so much for the informed choice. But then if something happens to the young girl, the parents, at least when I was really involved in it, were stuck with the medical bill. Yet to get your ears pierced or to get a tattoo, you got to get permission. In other words, a 15-year-old girl, well, they get them done, but not legally. At least in my state, to get a tattoo in Georgia, a 15-year-old can't walk into a tattoo parlor legally and walk out with a tattoo. But yet it's okay to walk in and have this girl get involved in a procedure that in some cases do cost the girl's life and does cause long-term physical and definitely psychological effects on abortion. And now, Cheryl, a lot of people will argue that abortion should be used in a case of rape or mother's life in danger. But is that not a red herring? Because I believe the percentage on rape and the mother's life being in danger is so insignificant it doesn't even measure on the map. It's not even like 1% of abortions are because of rape.
That's actually correct. In fact, we were involved in an effort in South Dakota to actually ban abortion. They had a law up there, and that law, unfortunately, was never put into effect. It was challenged. But in that law, they did not have an exception for rape, incest, and life of the mother. And they figured out that if all the abortions that took place in South Dakota, only one abortion every 4 years would qualify, under the rape, incest, and life of the mother case. So, it would be one abortion every 4 years. It's very, very significant. And that ended up being the argument that the pro aborts used to defeat that bill, was that there was no exception for rape and incest and life of the mother. We're talking about one abortion every 4 years, and it scuttled the entire bill. So you're right, that is
a red herring.
Absolutely.
Dave, do you have a question or comment for our guest, Dave?
Well, actually, it just...
And get close to the mic, Dave. Dave, get close to the mic.
It was me, Jim, that these abortion clinics aren't watched more thoroughly for the type of operations they're doing. It seems like since Roe versus Wade, anything goes.
Well, Dave, it's interesting. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I do want to lead into our guest, Dave. Roe versus Wade. It's very important, Dave, before our guest comments on it. Roe versus Wade, which Gina McCorvey in 1973, is interesting, Dave, because the whole issue of abortion being legal is based on a lie. Because Gina McCorvey was pregnant. She claimed it was a result of a rape. Years later, I guess she found God. She's out speaking against it, at least last time I heard. And now her baby was born, and she admits it was not a rape. So basically, Dave, she did lie under oath. And abortion, the Supreme Court law in 1973, Roe versus Wade, Gina McCorvey was the actual woman's name, is based upon a lie. So millions of Americans are now dead, labor shortage, Dave, because of a lie. Right. Go ahead, Cheryl. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just want to give people a quick history on the lie that this abortion industry is built on. The foundation of this industry is a lie. Go ahead.
Right, and so what we see in our country is unfettered abortion on demand, and that's what Roe v. Wade and Doe v. Bolton gave us. But in that, those cases allowed for the states to regulate abortion, and many states have passed a number of pieces of legislation to restrict abortion. I know there's some argument that, like, if you can't ban all abortions, then you shouldn't regulate them, because that's just saying it's okay to kill a baby if the sheets are clean, and that's not what we're saying. What we're finding out right now is that all the legislation that's been passed in these states, we can now take and use it against the abortion industry, because they don't follow laws. They think they're a law unto themselves. They're used to being uninspected, unregulated. Everybody protects them. They turn the other way when bad things happen at abortion clinics, like when women die, the ambulances come, when things like that happen, everybody looks the other way. And so what we found is that we can take these laws that have been enacted in states and we can use them against the abortion industry and use them to close them down. We just had a situation in California over the last couple of weeks come out where an abortion clinic they were not doctors. It was like this lady who owned the clinic. She had no medical background. She was doing abortions in these clinics. Her other doctor that she had hired